Welcome everyone to the LinkedIn Power Lab webinar. My name is Gunnar. The topic for today on the 19th of April 2021, on this episode number 19 actually, since I started in February last year. The topic today is from content to engagement. I normally run these webinars every second Monday, but it didn't go last week, so therefore it's this time on the third Monday. And typically I take a topic like content or like engagement or like connection, but this time I thought let's combine some things together because I would like to find out how can you turn a successful post into engagement, how you can gain from that. And that's what I would like to cover basically in today's session. So what I prepared as usual in all of these webinars, they're running 1 hour nearly. I would like to encourage you to use the chat to also to contribute and collaborate. That I really like a lot. I can capture that. And then I first get started by introducing myself to those who don't know me that well. So my name is Gunnar. I work in the social media space. I'm happily consulting about particularly LinkedIn. I'm blogging about social selling, which is the art and science of using LinkedIn to advance conversations. And I also created 2 online courses about the topic, and I published some books. I come about the book topic at the end. So then please use the chat room to contribute or to unmute yourself. And for those who don't know where this actually is, that was in 2 months ago in a tiny bay between Cremont Point, which would be to the left, and Grava Point, which would be to the right. So that's one of the bays where there's no ferry going. And that is a little tiny paradise, which I recognize particularly since working from home, that life actually is not too bad here. So the 3 topics that I have for today, from content to engagement, are create your content strategy, compose your material, and then convert your engagement into success. As typically, it's 3 of them. And even as more typical, all those 3, they start with the same letter. That I think is mostly the case, because I really like symbolic numbers like 3, 5, and 7, 24, 33, 42, and I also like the same letters. And it actually makes sense. So I would like to show you a huge successful post. There's one gentleman called Justin Welch. He also created once an online course about LinkedIn. And he used to be the COO of, or later CEO of 2 different software companies, a bit younger than me. And then he nearly burned out of this one and now is a consultant by himself. What he is doing, he's building his audience. He has now around maybe close to 80,000 followers, which is quite a bit. And the way how he writes his posts is text only. No pictures, and no BS type of discussion, fully there. So typically his content would be even smaller, but the way how he writes it is for optimized on the mobile. So when you see on the smartphone, you can really go through and you scroll. So his content is very much scrollable with many of white lines. And he actually has been also teaching how many lines you need to have if you have pictures, if you don't have pictures, before you press on see more. And then that's how he wrote. He admitted here in this post, for example, his first 46 posts didn't get any results. Nothing happened in 11 months. And then he really started to get on. And I encourage you, when you get the slides for this one, also have a look and read this, because what this gentleman is doing, he's in the US, actually moved in the pandemic, somewhere in the States, but what he does so extraordinarily well is that he is building in public. So as you might remember, software companies like Microsoft, they would release a new version of Microsoft Office every 3 years. In the meantime, they do constant improvement, but don't necessarily talk too much in public what will come when. But he does this. So then he created a recent course, and that he showed how he has been beginning, how has been he researching nearly every day, shared about that, created newsletters to really say, I do this step by step. And before the product has been ready, he sold already tens of thousands of dollars from that. So that's perfect. Really like this. And his content is enticing to be read. You can really go through the way how he structured this, sometimes with bullet points, sometimes with same letters. And here he's basically talking about a new membership program that he's launching on the 11th of May. And the only thing you can really do if you read this is simply to say, yes, I would like to join the waiting list, what I've done. And then when he started without knowing anyone, in the meantime with 78,000 followers, he got 755 likes, massive, 252 comments. Of course, I do not know how many views for this post, and he's posting something like this every week. No pictures, no videos, nothing fancy. Really great guy, really like him. So sometimes we were chatting, he knows some of Australians here as well. That is a nice example. And I always thought I would love to also have my own content that it has engagement. So let's define what engagement actually means on LinkedIn. You see at the bottom there, the 755, these are the likes. You can see who likes it. And even you can see who puts a heart on it and who puts just the normal blue button, the thumbs up, and who does something else. So then like this supporting one, for example. I really like this way how people then actually react on this. So then, the question, where does he live? In the US. He used to be in California and he moved to another state. I forgot which one. Somewhere more towards the middle, where it's a bit lower priced. But he can work from anywhere. So he's a consultant by himself. Engagement for him means that not only he gets all of the likes, the 755, but also 252 comments. Let's say nearly half of them are his own comments, because he's answering, he's replying to the comments. And he might know some of those who are always writing. So how do you get into this type of state? Because apparently, with this huge amount of comments, he can also convert that. So when he has his offer ready, and that exactly is it all about. He said even here, 700 plus people raising their hand to accelerate their growth. So he has already 700 people joining the waitlist. I've been maybe 701. He calls it audience and income. Love that. So this way, the only thing you can really do is to simply join. Call to action, or call to conversion, as he would call it at the end. Well done. So I have been in a very lucky state, first time and only time in my life that I got close to this type of numbers. And that was in a post that I shared 8 days ago. Let me show that with you. I'm posting normally every Monday about social selling. That gets me typically 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 views, and accordingly a lot of comments as well. But on Sundays, I typically write about personal growth, personal development. And that was my article that I wrote, which actually it was a post that exists, an article on medium.com, the largest blogging platform. And I got, when I prepared the slides in the morning, 136,500 likes. Sorry, views, not likes. I need to change that, views. Sorry for that. So that is huge. That's massive. So, and what I've done, I took the article, which sits on Medium. Some of you do this as well. Well, you're very good in figuring out what type of article on Medium suits your personal brand that really fits into you. Well done. So, and here, I thought instead of just sharing this, I also wrote something about it. So this was an article from Tim Denning, who's from Melbourne initially, an Aussie blogger. And I always share about posts playing with my last name about habits. So, and then typically what I do, I start with a question, I go into it, I highlight the person, I list the parts which are basically like the structure of that initial article, put a question, and so on. That's it. I've done this as well the Sunday before. I've done it also yesterday. For whatever reason, this one here has been more successful. Some people could say maybe because of the image. Not so sure. I think it's not even so good. I wanted to replace it. By the way, if you are using an existing link into somewhere, like here for Medium, and you would like to change the picture, you cannot do this in LinkedIn. Natively, it does not work. You can do this, though, in a third-party tool like Hootsuite. There you can take it even from a created post. So here, when I've done the slides in the morning, 136,500 views, not likes. But at least 388 likes and 40 comments. So I'm going close in that area, closer than normal. So based on this one, let's look what we can do. First of all, first step is creating. And there I would like to go, here. Thank you, Chris. See, he's in Nashville. Yeah, he moved there. Great guy. So creating, question to you, how do you create your content marketing strategy? Let me write the question in the chat and maybe you can answer. How do you create your content strategy? Could be content or strategy, content marketing strategy. The reason why here is the word marketing, because marketing talks to an audience, sales talks to individuals. So first, posting content is more a marketing type of approach. So how do you create this content strategy? Any question to any of you? Chris, you are posting, Claire, yeah, good one. You want to develop one. I talk about how you can make that happen. Because many people, they don't post at all. Only 1% of LinkedIn active users do that. And only half of people on LinkedIn are active. So when we have 11 million accounts in Australia, the 5.5 million are counted as active. And 1% of them are creating posts once per month, which is 55,000 people. Also, I would already know 3,000 of them. So it's a great way to stand out. So, and how are you going about this? So then I know, Belle, you have a timeliness on it when you post about your work in your Nature's Energy place, and you normally write on the timing that it fits into telling that you are open for business in that sense. So that is one approach. Graham, you say you look where your clients hang out, photography, fine art and training. You put it on Twitter, Facebook and so on, 2-3 days per week. Yeah, that's good. Instagram for you and photography, of course. And LinkedIn weekly. Yeah, that is the way of which type of channels you go for and the timing. What I also mean here is the question, how would be your proportion of educating or pitching or selling? So there's many ways that you need to consider. So let's look into how to do that. The first of all, I found an interesting article that I would like to share with you in when I send it out with a recording, which sits on HubSpot, which is one of the CRM systems, which is an amazing blog. There's a content marketing plan. So the typical questions which are there, of course, who's reading the content? You need to know your audience. What problem do you solve for them? And also what makes you unique, different from your market companions, not to call them competitors. So then, so I have done for a couple of people competitive marketing analysis. So we both went through this as well for your business to figure out how your competitors are posting, how they use content on the website, how they use it on social media. And when you know this, then you also know what your typical audience is seeing in the market in general, how something is called, for example. And then the next one would be the content formats, the channels. Channels is what basically what you wrote, Graham. And by the way, Graham, educating 80%, really like that. That fits into my same number. That's good. And then the question, how will you manage content creation? Many people are struggling on that one to create at that time when the audience hangs out. So how to overcome that? You could basically create content in batches. Let's say on Sunday to write 3, 4, 5 pieces in one go. And then you can post it whenever it's needed, or use tools like Hootsuite to schedule this in advance. So then the question of how you publish. So there's a lot of things to consider, in particular, which I like to get consistency in it. So that is quite a lot. Yeah, and well, it requires some research to really figure out that you can really estimate what is your way, how you can provide content, how you call things and so on. So that is the question to really need to consider, to put into a kind of a plan. And when we have done that, then the next one would be to put actions next to it. And the same type of article here on HubSpot, which I found, I've been working with HubSpot in the past, has also a nice video about it. But first of all, we need to define the goal. The goal can mean, if you're an educator, then you maybe only would like to share something. If you're a salesperson, then your ratio of sales-related posts requiring a customer to buy something might be higher, so that you need to know. Then you need to do the persona research, or the ICA, the ideal customer avatar, who that actually is. It might be not just one, might be 2 or 3 different versions. And then you run an audit of the content what you already have sitting somewhere. Maybe you have done business cards, flyers, collaterals, whatever is there, or in the past you posted. Figure out what is there, what you can create, and then you might choose a content management system. What does that mean? More for companies, or the way how you've done your blog using tools like WordPress or Squarespace, which is also quite modern, or Kajabi, what actually I'm using, and also Justin Welch has been using when I met him due to the Kajabi group, if I know him. And then you need to brainstorm some content ideas. And ideally you brainstorm outside of your typical timing and typical format sizes, but just to figure out what are the topics that your persona research likes. What do they engage on from somewhere else on the market? It was really nice work. I really love that. And then you need to figure out what type of content you need to create in order to have that. When you're starting out, of course, you need to have maybe some kind of basic stuff. So if I take as an example, there's a sales coach, John Smilbert. He once created, he's now in Brisbane, but he was here in Sydney. He once created a group called Sales Mastermind. And for them, he created a website and put lots of content out there. So that's good. But in order to do this content, you need to first figure out the whole list, what's needed, what type of sales methodologies are out there, what type of tactics are there, interviews with thought leaders. He put out a huge library of content before going public with that. So when you determine which type of content to create, then you can go and publish and manage the content in different type of tools. There's a lot to consider when it comes to content. It's not just only posting. Because many people post just out of an idea. Find something, press on the button. And then they wonder that it does not lead to anything. So you need to have consistency, but this here is first to get properly started. So yeah, Ben, you asked about the type of tools for blogging system. I think WordPress is pretty much given as a basic for many, maybe the largest number of blogs out of one system. There are other tools for this one as well. Even HubSpot has a way how small companies can create websites. There are different tools out in the market. And so I created some websites in WordPress, some websites in Kajabi. My new website will be also in Kajabi. I do another one. So these are the things what put into your content strategy. And then when we have done that, you need to go from setting up into operationalize this and always have something ongoing. So I found here a social publishing calendar. That's a template which can be downloaded for free from Hootsuite, where you can simply figure out per month what type of content interface you would use, when, and so on. Some kind of help is good. A normal Google Sheet and naked one will do it as well in order to make your thoughts about what type of material you would like to share and when, and then how you follow up of this one. Because only posting without checking what's going on doesn't really show you the results out of this one. So there are tools available particularly from social media point of view that can help you to get some kind of statistics. So when we have done this type of setup work, then it's a question, of course, of composing content. And I will also come into this particular post that I've had. So the question only, what is the reason that you post content in the first place? So let me put it out. What is your reason to post content? So curious to figure out what you're answering. In the meantime, I saw also some more joining, like Inge. That's nice to have you here, because once I've been writing a lot of content for your magazines back in Switzerland in good old times of traveling. And welcome. Grüezi miteinander. So then what type of reason, or what reason do you have to post content? Some are more educators, like what was for me the case. Claire, you're building awareness. That's true. And also to get engagement for your programs like that, particularly also the podcast we have done last year. So that was a good one. Credibility, encourage and sign up to get emails and build trust, Graham. Yes, particularly this trust is an important thing. You like to work with those people who know, like, and trust you, and constant content, of course, helps. So that's good. Also, Viola, you write about attracting the right prospects for lead generation, and that means that you are very determined to set up a clear strategy what you actually will post about, not anything. So it should fit and should show you as thought leader or subject matter expert. So that's very good. Yeah, and Chris, you wrote sharing information with your colleagues. That's true, because particularly you are in the area of pandemic response, business continuity. Of course, there's a lot of knowledge which needs to be shared, not necessarily to solve you. So that is good. Yeah. Personal brand, I see with some of you, that's good. So the only question, when you have this mindset, the question is, how can you choose wisely actually what to post? And that is not necessarily an easy one, because very often we see that people want to write something, but then they pitch too much what they do. Imagine this. So then we have, for example, also here Dick Lamb, who just joined us. Well, Dick, you're one of the very first person I met in Australia 5 years ago. And at that time, I attended your meetup event where you had me with my resume. And imagine you would only post about how to do career and resumes. It wouldn't show you as the true yourself. So then it's important that posting too much or not enough is not the right one. And you should not post outside the interest of your tribe. I call it tribe, not necessarily only network, because you want to build a proper relationship with them. So then when we go further, how to make that happen, in my view, and Graham, you pick exactly the same number, 80% is educational, 20% is about your services. And here's an example of what I've done. So it was, the picture here is from a book launch that I've had in 2018. There, for example, is Jeff Anderson, who's also one of the book authors about video production. And then only in a comment of this post, I wrote about my offering, which was my very first course, online course about social selling. Having this course available made huge effort for me, not only to learn as an educator, to turn my experience as a sales trainer at HP in Switzerland into an online educator, but also further to find my current employment at Hootsuite. That's perfect. I now work with the Hootsuite Academy. So, but at least 20% about your services, 80% educational, and more talk about the audience, what helps them, not what you want to sell them. It makes a big difference. And then also the benefit is, of course, that this content, when it's targeted, can add also your expertise to your audience, and you can collaborate with more of your clients. That's also an important topic. You don't only pitch it, but you also generate about it. And when you do this, and you're known for this, then you can build so much about it. So there was an example in 2 years ago when Dick Lamb, who had back then when it was possible to meet face-to-face for meetup groups, you created an online event and you missed somehow organizing who next week will be the speaker and what will be the content. But as you had your personal brand, you could easily reach out to 3-4 people to become a podium speakers and then to make an event and talk about professional networking. Thanks for inviting me for this one. I really like that. It was a good one. But it only worked because your personal brand and your content is very relevant to your audience, so that then immediately you could press on a button and invite, and 50 people came in that WeWork in Sydney. That's a good one. So choosing what to post, the direction is very important. But then you need to ensure that the audience sees that. You need to make it clear what's in it for them. So typical example, most companies, they share content on social media which somehow reverts further into their websites. What normally small business owners try not to do, rather provide content which is just on social media that has higher visibility. But it's quite known that you find something that leads into sites like Forbes, Inc.com, Medium, whatever. But if there's no reason, then why would an audience read this? So here's one guy, Gifford Thomas. He even wrote a book about leadership quotes. Good person, but he didn't add a reason why this quote, it's not even completely visible, should resonate with me. So we need to answer what's in it for me. Only then it makes sense. Otherwise, it's advertising. So I call it curating with a magic intro. There should be a reason. So the way how I do this here, that is an example from a post I've done a while ago. I wanted to sign up a partner in my role in risk management, and that partner was an expert, but his on new technologies, but his network was pretty much small. So I thought, how can I help him? So I found a great article he wrote on his own blog about machine learning and artificial intelligence and the fourth industrial revolution. Sounds very heavy. So then instead of just sharing that blog post, I wrote a bit of a blurb. Do you understand the benefits and implications? And then I explained this, then how to go for this, and how Colin provides his 5 top tips, and then it went into the article itself. And at the end came a question. Question first, question then. From today's perspective, I could have added maybe 1 hashtag more. I have 3 to 5 would be good. And he has only less than 500 contacts, but we got more than 5,000 views because I added all of these reasons in it that entice people to read on. And you know this on LinkedIn, if you have a post, it starts with 3 lines. So if you see this one here, the whole text is not there. Only the first line, do you understand the benefits? The second line you see, and the third one is empty. And there would be ... see more. Then you press on it to get the rest. So you need to earn the right of the readers that they would like to read more about that. So that's an important one. Claire, you asked about the opinion of posts versus articles. I come to this one. But here, this is a post itself to transport an article, which actually is not a LinkedIn article, but it's sitting on the blog of Colin. And at the end, he got quite traffic from this one to his blog. So that was perfect. And it's just seeing the number, the views, we cannot buy something from that. But without views, we don't get likes and don't get comments. So 134 likes and 39 comments is actually pretty good. Been very happy for that. So then become known as a writer, despite you're just finding content somewhere. And that goes well. So find something like a medium, write why it resonates to me, and then entice a reaction. Of course, I could have tagged 10 people, 20 people in the post itself. But that is a waste of real estate. I don't do this. And if you would do this, imagine you would tag 10 people in the post itself. And those 10 people would not react on it. Then the algorithm would think this is just spamming. And we don't want that. If you always put the same 10 people, maybe at the beginning they do this, but week by week they say, oh yeah, it's another one, just press like, okay. It's not too good. Don't waste real estate. No need to write too long. So I always say write what matters, and it should look well. Many people write without a structure, and then there's no engagement. For example, I like to write about going to an event and figure out what's there and share about that. So this was here at the New South Wales Business Chamber. There was a training how to present, because the target was that those people need to learn how to do, to then have a pitching 2 minutes in front of hundreds of people. So then I thought, okay, I write about it. I ask even the one who's speaking over there with the white jacket, that's Nicholas Roris. I asked him, hey, Nick, I made a photo of you. Can I post this? Because you are visible. And I asked also the other people there, and they said yes. Okay. But the picture is not so good, and the text is not that good, and it doesn't lead to anything. Okay, I tried. Learning. So then the better way would be to use a storytelling post format. So here, for example, I went to an event from HubSpot. There was a former country manager, Dave Shepard, on it. On the right-hand side and the left-hand side, Graham Hawkins from Sales Tribe, who has tens of thousands of followers. And then I started here. This is a true storytelling format. Put some learning what I had out of it, that you can read, and go on and figure out and learn as you go with 7 type of points. And I started with true or false question. That at least turned into a couple of thousand of views and engagement and a perception. And then later, actually, I applied for a job at HubSpot afterwards, and then Dave Shepard remembered me because I attend to their events and also I write about it. So that's a way how you can become known in the market. So therefore, perception as a value creator to drive engagement and gain new connections from each post. Then I analyze, particularly this event, there were about maybe 80 people. many of who I met in later other functions as well. So then I figured out those who like it and write on it, I connect with them and I try to help them in something. That's how that works. So from today's perspective, that's 2 years ago, I would maybe tag more like HubSpot and SalesDrive. I would tag them there, then it gets even more engagement. Anyway, so that's a way how a post can work. And you can see in my post here on the right-hand side, there's only 2 lines before a 3 line. That's very good for the eye. Otherwise, if it's a big block, like on the left-hand side, people don't read it. Hey, Cinzia, I see you joined as well. Looks like that those from Mosman and surrounding are quite well visible. That's nice. So, typical content formats. So, Claire, that's the question that you've had. So, the first starting point years ago was the Pulse article. That was the first that I wrote. I have maybe about only 8 or 9 of them. It's for thought leadership. If you're a consultant, if you're an expert, have some that can sit there, that's fine. The importance is reduced, and LinkedIn now looks more into the new newsletter format, where you can produce and share longer content. Typically would be rather the post, what used to be just status update. They can be shorter like this one, they can be longer, but not longer than 1,300 characters or about 200 words. With images, like I mostly do, or without, like Justin is providing. He never puts an image on there. And you can add videos. If you do so, don't do them in a car, like 3 years ago when it was more common. And also you can have captions on it, like here from rev.com, you get them for $1.25 US per minute. So then this was a video of 2 minutes. I've done it in better times when the cruise ship had been in Sydney, and it was nice to talk about. It got nice engagement because video at that time was quite cool. And of course, there's something called LinkedIn Live, which is not available for everyone yet, not as Facebook Live, which is more easy. And some of you might have seen that I'm now doing Facebook Live for all of the last couple of days. I started maybe 9 days ago and have big pleasure in doing this. It's nice. But that's Facebook. It's a different type of area, different type of audience, but at least it's nice to get out with consistency. So what else do we have? New content format. And maybe some of you tried that. The first is using documents. You can upload a PDF format, which you can then scroll through. So some people in my network are extreme experienced in this one, like Dimka. She's not in today, but she's really an expert on this to put this together. Also, Rao Kankatala from who I know from a multi-level marketing network. Initially, he now positions himself as an expert and he creates documents. You can use Canva.com, Australian software, or even this year's PowerPoint. Doesn't matter. LinkedIn likes that. When this type of content is visible, you can scroll through this. Very nice, highly engaging. And then we have polls. Did anyone get any poll? So that's a question. So I've done some. It came, I think, a good year ago. The poll started. Really like that, and but should not be overdone. So at least it's a quite good one. Yeah, not many, Graham. I agree on that one. And by the way, if we do a recording, it will be possible to see it, Jinsa, if you need to take a phone call. So then the other thing are the stories. LinkedIn wanted to leverage from what other channels already do. You know how it looks like, similar to Facebook and to Instagram. I do not like it too much. It's shorter actually, 24 hours visible. But yeah, some people need to do that. I rather provide Facebook stories. Why stories? If you look into Facebook, if we are simply promoting content on Facebook, so I, for example, I'm sharing a lot about the area where I'm living here on the Sydney Harbour, and it's so nice over here, so green around. Or when I'm traveling to other places, I share that. That is more about the personal branding topic. I wouldn't sell there. But then on the stories, you can then rather put a story out there to say, this affiliate marketing program allows to go for $50, $150, or $300. This is already how many people use this for whatever reason, that you put into a story. You sell in this story, or let's say you offer, better to say, but you promote more personal branding on posts. So that is a bit of the difference of that one. And we have the LinkedIn newsletter. So it's 8 different formats which are out there. As soon as there is a 9th one, I can make a full third slide for that. So let's look into, when we have the content that follows our strategy, how can we convert that? And there, question to all of you. How do you engage? How do you engage with the comments on your post? Very curious. Oh, that was a bit indirect. One moment, I need to send this to everyone. How do you engage with the comments on your post? I am very curious. Graham, you always reply to them. Well done, correct. Claire, you acknowledge, because that's true. People take the time to really comment on it, so that would be very nice to also show this. That's a good approach, like that. So Inge, you give answers. That's true, because particular as a travel journalist, you have your way how to make people curious about the places that you are, the experience that you share. You want to make them gierig, I think, how you would say in Swiss German, and then of course you need to provide some answers and get them into that space. I remember that when I had the chance to write a longer feature story about Canada on my visit to Vancouver back then for your magazine Reiseblick, already 18 years ago. Time flies, and I'm working for a company from Canada. That's quite good. So then there's different ways how we can engage with them. We can also totally ignore this. And yeah, Belle, you said that you also like the comment. That also is the first thing what I would do as well. I like that. If somebody is commenting just with great, or you're right, or rock on, then I'm not a favor of then replying to this, because I disagree on this short way of comments. I would rather entice it for more. And yeah, Chris, you say you also add more information. If somebody's writing, you can agree, you can add more, you can even disagree. So how to do that? Time matters. Imagine you posted good content. You get nice responses. But of course, when you do this, for example, on Monday morning, you need to go working. You need to do something. But then have a look at lunchtime, have a look afterwards, who wrote something, because time is of the essence. So then the follow-up is important. Therefore, I always say, take a bit of dedicated time. When we're working from home, we don't commute, but at least it's possible. And then have a look optically on these screenshots. You see on the right-hand side, Danica wrote nice comment about it, ask even question, I commented. Then Yuri writes, I comment further. On the middle one, you can see even it's not just Tom writing, and there might have been an reply for me in the middle, but then Heidi comes in, and then Tom comes in again. So you can get dialogues up and running. And there was a time 2 years ago when I wanted to recruit consultants for an event of my former company, Nogin. I said, how can I estimate who has a good saying? So I shared a post, and I figured out what would be the response from risk management consultants and emergency management consultant. And Chris, it was a Nogin event in September 19, and I had 3 of consultants actually coming that are recruited out of their way, how they commented on LinkedIn, like Matthew Harper or Kerry McGoldrick, to then join the panel. Was a good way. Really like that. So because also when those people comment on it, then they would like to be somehow recognized that the work that they do, and you can increase engagement when it is fresh. So that is the public visible way of engaging. And there's of course more the private one, which is then to tell it with voice and video. You can of course write something. You can see here, I have a couple of dialogues. Hey, Viola, you see, that's fine. You already wrote there. That screenshot is from someone last year. And instead of just only writing with that guy over here, Alex from UK, there are other ways as well, because the inbox in LinkedIn is not that good. So then what you can do, you can use voicemail in the app. So as you can do on a normal phone, in WhatsApp, in Facebook Messenger, you can use it in LinkedIn as well on the app. Simply at the bottom right is this logo, press on it, hold it, and you can speak 1 minute. Release, and then the next minute. But there's a little plus, and you can do even more. So what you can do is also to, of course, to add pictures and so on, but you can also add video. So that I've been doing here for Alex. On the left-hand side was just only communicating by text, and then he got video, and then this type of video stands more out. So then it was more obvious for him to go after that. So you can basically disrupt your inboxes. You can get your point across in a sticky way, and it shows you as a person to simulate real-life meeting, particularly in the pandemic when it's not so easy to meet with others. So let's look into these posts that I've done for that article. So this with the 136,500 views, in the meantime maybe 2,000 more. So what have I actually done? Let's analyze the content itself. So I created content from Medium as often. I started with a hook and a question. I added a lot of free lines, and only on one moment here you have 3 lines in one row together before a free line. The free lines are important. I tagged the initial author. I even chatted with him afterwards. And I added another author and chatted with him, hoping he would share this because this content was very much suitable for him. And he has done that. That was good. And I added 3 hashtags. Could be 3 to 5. I wouldn't do more. So, and I added here one, which is Sunday Habits with Gunnar. Okay, just playing with my name. So that was just the way how I've done the content. Similar as normal. It could be that this image made it a bit more visible, despite the lady has been smoking and she is drinking, so we do not really see who she is, but that's fine. That can be the reason. We don't know. Let's look further. So then when you press on the views, then you can figure out where are the people from. So here, that was just before this webinar, it was 2,000 more, you can see. Many people from Amazon, from Accenture, interesting from Tata and Infosys, which are the competitors from India, Microsoft, a lot of them. Hi, I'm working in IT and software, it's not too wrong. Interesting that HP is not there. That would have been years ago, that most people from there would be there. Many salespeople, but only 6,000. And it's 138. What are the others? That's interesting. But it's good to know that my network has many of these roles because that is my target. That's good. If there would be hairdressers high up there, for example, then I would wonder. The only thing what I really wonder, the 3,000 are from India. That's a big surprise. Or only from those, and then come Mumbai, New Delhi. So apparently there must have been some of those 25 reshares who have been working at Tata or at Infosys and others from India who shared that further. That's good. Well, I don't sell that too much, but in the meantime, I actually do. Toronto, that's fine. Companies from Australia, from Canada anyway, Chicago, that's all good. It's interesting just to check out, to figure out. But then there's 25 reshares. It's worth to look, who are the people? So let's then, after analyzing, is this material written any good way or who is actually engaging with it, then I look into the commenting. So I got apparently 40 comments. So within the first 2 hours of posting, I comment typically. And then I do another checkpoint, maybe in the evening, next morning, next evening, just to figure out what's going on, to keep the conversation going. And I answer all except the one-line comments. If somebody just says, great post, yeah, what should I say? I could ask, what makes it great? But I comment, as most of you have been written as well, so that's an important thing. Yeah, these, like you just wrote about the short single sentences to gain attention. There's a reason why I don't like them. There's something that, let's open a bracket. There's something called engagement pods, where people are clubbing together to share content with each other to gain comments quickly. And the only way to do this quickly is to get a list of where you have to comment on. You go to the post and say, great. You go to the post and say, you rock. You go to the post and say, agree, without reading. That actually shows those people who do this as in a negative light, because it looks like they cannot compose a proper sentence. So, and it's against the rules. So if I don't like it, don't support it, I don't foster that. So, but when we comment it, then the question is, who are those people? 138,000 who viewed it, I have no clue who they are. But I see those who commented, that was 40, those who like it, which is 400, and 25 who shared it further. These are the very important ones. So I look, which are the 25 people? I watch those and also those who commented it. And then I connect with a personalized invite. And I can, for this post, I can do it easily. Say, thanks for engaging on my post, 8 Habits of Quiet Winners. Would like to know what resonated well with you. Would be great if you can connect. If you find out, that would be a good addition to your network, otherwise not. And why is it good? Because if the content you share resonates with them, maybe also with their network. And the secondary connection, that is what really counts. So how to then convert it further? So I thought, if I build a relationship with those 25 people, or whoever they are, or with the commenters, there might be some in it whom I can help with further of similar posts what I've been doing. I can help those new connections. I can communicate directly with them in the messaging and with voice and video as shown. And also, if I have my own hashtag, then the post could have this initial as well, as I showed to you, and I can share this further. The personalized invite, of course, in a LinkedIn message, when you simply connect, then you have the chance to personalize on mobile as on a desktop. And this at the end will be visible in the LinkedIn message. So that's the way how that works. And that's good. By the way, when I mentioned, there was a question from Bell, when I mentioned 3 lines, are those lines in between the text? I always put a free line, a blank line, so that the eye has a structure to read, not a big block of text as it's written from Franz Kafka. Makes no sense. So that was this big post that I've had with these large numbers, and also a little bit about how others like Justin Welch, as a good example, are following up with this. So he's following up a lot. He's commenting on nearly everything. And that's why he can convert those people and entices them to join his waiting list of his new product. And that's great. He's a fantastic example. And even then, sometimes he said, hey, guys, I still have my old course still available for that price. Jump on it as long as available. And people do. 80% education, 20% you can position yourself. So that was what I wanted to show, to go from a piece of content which had nice success, but what you can do with that to go on with that. So that's an important topic. So some water. And as we have some of you here in the call, like Cynthia, who didn't join too often, or Vi and Inge and Viola, not always, and those who didn't join but can watch the recording. Let's say into the next step. Before that, a question from Bell: how to convert from comments to engaging into conversation? Take the comment, write directly to them in the sense of, hey, Claire, you wrote about your experience on your leadership program, how that resonates with you. Can you tell me more about it? Maybe I have someone in my network who might be suitable for you. Don't pitch, ask. Give the other person a chance to say what they do. Get curious about it. That's how that works. Next step, how can I help you on this one without selling, but just to figure out? I can run a discovery call to brainstorm some ideas how maybe your LinkedIn profile or content strategy can go to the next step that I can do. I also actually help small business professionals to refresh the profile, that it looks like 2021 and not like 2011 anymore. So that I can do here. And also I have a membership program where I also play with the name of my last name, with the word of my last name, Organic LinkedIn Habits. I strongly believe in organic instead of paid, and also to put it, make it a habit, make it a ongoing, constant activity with accountability and activity. So that's what I'm doing. So how does this program look like? It has an online course with 4 modules, 60 lessons actually. I have soon a LinkedIn group for this. I have a Facebook group as well. And for those who are in it, I also do every now and then coaching calls, often also on Mondays. The course itself covers the 4 critical topics. The challenge of getting active on LinkedIn with a personal brand, define the target market, what we talked in earlier, then how to connect with the right level of people after you improved your profile, then the content, a bit what we talked about today, but more also about how to create, how to write, how to compose. That's including there in the course, and also then how to convert. By surprise, all the words with C. So that's part of this online course and a cabinet of more tools and recordings. So how to do this? There is an essential level of this one. It's a monthly program for $97. There's a premium one, which includes also 1 hour with me. Therefore, it's more in it because it helps when you get accountability. So that's, of course, is one advantage. That's the difference between the essential and the premium one. And I have some who said, oh, I would like to go through this just for a month or two, can help them solve a problem, then they leave, it's fine. And later they have another problem and they join again. That is possible. Or some others say, oh, I would like to go for at least 6 months, maybe even a year to really get it started, because you can see as this work of a marathon instead of a sprint, you can see this only after a while. But it might require work to get the LinkedIn profile up and running, so I can help them as well to go to the 12 critical points of a LinkedIn profile and give concrete suggestions how to change and what to do and where to do. Typically, I start with a video to record from it, say, okay, let me take, for example, not Dick, because you know it very well, but if I would say, I've done it, Bell, when you and I started working together more than a year ago, we went through this, your profile as well, and then we're sitting down or call to figure out which steps need to be changed. So that is how to get started on the program. But there's one more thing. Last year, I had the pleasure to do a birthday webinar with the launch of a book called Lessons I Learned, which is an Australian one. And this year, there's another book to come and another birthday to celebrate, but this time not a Monday, but a Tuesday on May 4th, Star Wars Day. When I came to Sydney on my birthday, 4th of May, in the morning, I had the pleasure at the Australian Institute of Management to be with all of the people from the course, and I'm still connected with some. And that was nice recognition, wonderful. In the evening, I went to go to a meetup group and I saw Dick Lamb, who now in the call here, nearly 5 years ago. Thanks, mate. And you helped me a lot into how to get job search up and running in Australia and Sydney. And then later, on that same evening, I met one of my close friends from today, which is Bassam. Couldn't make it in the call today, but also from the same birthday. It was an outstanding birthday 5 years ago. So what type of book is upcoming this year? So I published this time my book number 22. And the only person in the call who have the chance to see that book in 2 days, Inge, that's you. If you have the chance to get into a bookshop, not sure if they're actually open, or if this is open. So then that is a book from a German publisher called Bruckmann. They do these nice travel books with lovely pictures on it about Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. And there's a range of authors, I think 10 of them. But for whatever reason, I'm the lead author of this book. I have the most parts of that. And I call this is my book number 22. And I'm in 22 years of writing book. My first one came out in 1999. And that is a nice way to say this. Of course, I will not necessarily read all of the book because it would be in German. I do this whole story in English. But I will cover on that Thursday, 4th of May, in a 1 hour webinar about my birthday, I will cover how I came from writing travel content, like Inge, a lot of articles for your magazines back then, how I then came to Australia and how did these 5 years actually go, because they went quite quickly. So it's more a journey, not of the book itself, but also about what all happened in between and how I found my place here in Sydney, and that I will put together because it's also related into writing. For example, I'm writing about Sydney Opera House, and Sydney is Australia is one of the very few places which have actual live theatre playing. Like every 5 evenings we have open air theatre here with the fireworks at the time. La Traviata is playing over here and we play inside. So then I'm happy that I could still write about it in publications in Germany and in Austria. So that's going on. So that's good. So this book itself, of course, is in German. It has pictures in it. It has my text in German and from other authors. They don't do English versions because in the English market there are other publishers who do that. But that's fine. But I will take some of the content which is in the book and I will talk about it in English. So it's 2 weeks to go. Still need to invite, still need to figure out what all will be in there, but looking forward to that. And actually need to prepare already what I will do for next year with my book number 23. Maybe finally I can have my book called Chance for Change, which talks about the corporate redundancy which I had in Switzerland back then, because now there's so many people who unfortunately run into the same type of experience. Anyway, so that's a plan. That will be my book launch. Happy to have you there. It's more about talking about the journey and have a virtual birthday. In Sydney, we can celebrate also as normal, pretty much like it has been before the pandemic. But for my international audience, it doesn't work. So therefore, I choose Zoom for that. That will be a good one. Looking forward to this. Thanks for those who just wrote about it, like Viola, Chris, Belle, Claire, and so on. So here is my Facebook group, Organic LinkedIn Community, which I now restarted again to post more actively in it. I've been a bit sleeping over this in February and March, but I will be now more active on it. And because now I do a lot of more activities on Facebook as well for business, that is a good one. Yes, another question from Belle, a book about my photography and travel. While we do have a travel expert here and a photography expert, which is Graham, so my pictures are not even close to this one. And even Inge, when you are a travel journalist and Heinz does many of your photos together, that's much better than what I do, but I grew a bit since I'm here. Anyway, so that was my LinkedIn webinar today. It's nearly 8 o'clock, the hour is over. So I hope I could share a bit of how you use nice content, successful content in terms of engagement and numbers, how you can turn this further into engagement in communicating and converting into whatever the targets are following your content strategy that you set up in the first place. So I hope this was a nice journey overall. And I will place a recording on my YouTube channel and then also in the emails for those who are registered and on the website linkedinpowerlab.com as usual. Thank you everyone for joining. Really appreciate it. If you have any questions, please feel free to write. I'm still here a little bit. So, and also I really enjoyed the comments that you made. The group was not that large today, but doesn't matter, because therefore we have many people who really contributed to this. That's a bit like my coaching course, and I really enjoyed that. Great one, which gives, by the way, gives us a lot of content to write and post about afterwards. That's great. So thanks everyone. And Inge, merci vielmals, dass du hast die grüne E-Welle. Merci vielmals, hat mich gefreut. So wish you a nice evening. And then Dick, yeah, the Organic LinkedIn community, I will share that with you. Might be even a member of this. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining.